Hey guys, what's up? Shucker here once again. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Just kind of went silent there for a bit, you know, it's like, it kind of always happens. It's like being an alcoholic, you know, it's like for a while there, you're just drinking constantly. Then you have like a little break and you're like, oh, I'm doing good, but then you relapse and you have to do something. And yeah, it's what I'm doing now. Now, over the past 2 weeks, there's been like a few little topics I really wanted to just talk about, but I think I've talked about this before, but I make so many videos where I'm talking to the camera and I just don't upload them because I always feel like I'm getting too rambly. And for someone who's already rambly all the fucking time, yeah, it gets quite bad, it really does. So I've decided to combine, I did something like this before, I've decided to combine a few topics into one video just to get them off my chest, you know, so let's discuss them. They're all going to be about like JRPGs and stuff, all that jazz, you all know what I like to talk about, so yeah, let's get into it. I've been playing a lot of Trails in the Sky, the second chapter, okay? I always need to hold this up whenever I talk about it, you know. I tried repeatedly, because I played through this game a second time on the PC, you know, before going into Trails in the Sky, the second chapter. And I'm really glad I did, because now I feel like I can say, without a doubt, this is, in fact, my favourite JRPG of all time, which is a big thing coming from me, you know. And every time I tried to turn on the camera and just talk about how much I loved it, and you know, all I did was ramble and that, you know. I sounded like some broken record of a best friend who couldn't stop talking about how much he was into his newest girlfriend, you know, that's how much I love this game, and yeah, it was, I couldn't have uploaded that for sure. But yeah, the second chapter is really good so far. I got, like, it's kind of weird actually, I got like 20 hours into it. On the PC, because it came out first on the PC, and just the other day there, it came out on the PSP and Vita. And I bought it again for the PSP and Vita because because I'm weird like that. It's like, oh no, I've got to buy every version of a game I like, you know. But I actually decided to just halt playing, throw away those 20 hours on the PSP, and just go ahead and now play it on the PSP, because it feels better on the PSP, you know. The PC version has some weird things about it. It's just weird little inconsistencies with like menu text popping up, and also it slows down a lot on my PC because my PC is shite. If you have access to just a PC and not a PSP and you want to play Trails in the Sky, it's by no means a big enough thing to like make your experience any worse. Absolutely. I recommend this game so much, you know, go ahead and play it please, it's so good. But yeah, me personally, I'm preferring to play it on the PSP, and I'll probably make a video when I'm done with it. It's gonna be weird with this game being concluded after, like, it was almost like a miniature Shenmue, you know, with Trails in the Sky, because the first game ends on this stupid cliffhanger, and for years, fans were just like, all like, oh, we're actually gonna get this, is Xseed gonna localize it? And we didn't have to wait anywhere near as long, you know, it was only like 2 or 3 years, but Xseed has localized it now, and yeah, it's like, you shouldn't like, I'm not of the opinion that you should ever be like grateful to a publisher, you know, like, I've heard examples about this before, like, you know, you should never be grateful for big publishers doing something that they should do in the first place, you know, like, I don't know, like all the stuff EA, Ubisoft does, like, be thankful to, just to throw an example out there, be thankful to EA for fixing SimCity's online DRM when it shouldn't have been there in the first place, you know. And just because Xseed has less money than EA, you know, shouldn't give them any special treatment, but I really can't help but say thank you Xseed for localizing this game. I understand through following it throughout the years how much of a task it was. I'm very, very happy with it. So yeah, that was Trails in the Sky, and now I want to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, that's going to come out this Friday. I'm screwed this Friday because I'm still playing TITS, Trails in the Sky. So it's going to be a while before I can get into that, and it's like, oh my god, why did these two games have to come out back to back? Honestly, why? It's tragic, it really is. Now, I'm very, very excited for Xenoblade. Obviously, I've talked about it non-stop for the past, 3 years. It's been fucking in development. But there was an aspect of it that I did want to talk about, and I don't really want to focus on it, but it sort of, ties into something I said in a previous video. So I think I am going to say it. Let's talk about the censorship that Nintendo has enforced upon the non-Japanese version of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, I was talking about Xenoblade a bit in the past, because Nintendo has been, really adamant about it lately, they've just been very much, oh, we've got to do this, nobody's allowed to see tits ever. Okay, it started off in Project 05, where originally the female characters had costumes where they were in nothing but just fucking pants and bras and shit, right? And jiggle physics emphasised in that. Now, they took that out of the Japanese version and instead gave us a Zero Suit Samus and a Princess Zelda alt outfit. Now, to me, that's okay, that's censorship, but it's censorship with a good payoff, It wasn't like an example of censorship that I felt like I needed to get riled up about, that I needed to be like, oh, this is terrible, this is the worst thing, I'm not buying this game, It didn't give me that sort of feeling, okay? And I said in my Project 05 review, basically, know who the real enemies are when it comes to censorship, I didn't want to say don't be upset about it, the censorship at Project 05, just when there's worse cases, you should concentrate on those. But then we have Xenoblade Chronicles X, and lo and behold, a worst case has come up. Now, it started off with one of the main characters having an alt outfit. Now, this main character is apparently 13 years old, and she had a skimpy outfit. And yeah, they've censored that to make it a bit more reasonable. And again, that's an example of okay, I'll not moan about that much. I mean, again, it's censorship, but yeah, it's not one of the worst things. I mean, Bravely Default did it as well, But then they did something really stupid. They made it so that you can't alter the friggin' bust size of a female protagonist when you're creating your character, because in Xenoblade Chronicles X, you create your character. And yeah, they've literally just taken the slider out to increase the bust size, and it's just that is an example of just stupid censorship, There was it's upsetting, right? It's really upsetting. I got this sort of thing with Project 05, right? I really didn't like the fact that the censorship was the thing everybody was talking about when it came to Project 05, okay? And again, the censorship in that game doesn't bug me that much. But now it's definitely going to be the case with Xenoblade Chronicles X, That's all anybody ever talks about when talking about it, and it's I can't, nobody will blame but Nintendo for that, It's you fucking, you did this to yourselves, by holding back so much. It's upsetting. It's really upsetting, Again, still really hyped for the game, still gonna buy it, but it's a stupid thing, and I really hope that this series can continue without it just being constantly associated with censorship. That's my dream, so we'll see how it goes, Right, speaking of long-running series, a new Valkyria Chronicles game got announced. Ooh, and it's not a fucking mobile game, okay? It's coming to PS4. And to be fair, it's going to be a normal sort of RPG as opposed to a strategy RPG, which is a bit upsetting, but, I've seen the trailer and all that, it looks okay. This has got my attention, I mean, fair enough, one of the main characters, one of the lassie characters, she's not in the sort of traditional military gear, she's in a fucking white summer dress on the battlefield or whatever, but it's Japan, they do stuff like that, so whatever. But when I heard that news, I had the most unique mixture of emotions in my head, Basically all aimed at Sega, and it was mostly anger, okay? Which is weird, because they've not necessarily done anything bad in this instance yet. but all I could think about were the excuses that Sega will probably make for not giving us this new game. And then I just thought of all the evidence that is like out there for everybody to see, stuff that they've said that is so contrary to the fact. Right, basically, Sega, if you don't localize this game, you are so terrible. Like, this isn't like a... And, see, it's hard to get this out, right? But, obviously, Sega has denied us, games in the past from being localized, you know? But, just on top of everything else they've said recently, you know? Like, they said that, we betrayed our fans in terms of quality. You know, the new Sega CEO said that, and he said he's looking to rectify that at some point. Well, wouldn't giving us a new Valkyria Chronicles game help that, you know? Also, like, again, just piling on more evidence, you guys were apparently, you said this yourselves, blown away by the re-release of the first Valkyria Chronicles game on Steam. You said that it surpassed all expectations, and it was a massive hit. You saw it on like #1 for days when it came out on Steam. And, you know, so it's like, the Valkyria Chronicles fanbase has proven itself, okay? Not only that, but you've dicked the fanbase over in the past by not localizing Valkyria Chronicles 3. I don't give a fuck about what console it was on, okay? Folk were wanting it, you should have given us it. I mean, fucking... I'm playing Trails in the Sky 2 on my PSP, so why not, you know? And what else? There was one other point I wanted to bring up. Yeah, and the other thing, sorry, jump cut, it totally blanked me there. Something that I've said in the past, you know, it's like, you guys have Atlas in your back pocket, so couldn't they localize it for you? You bought a company that specializes in localizing games for non-Japanese markets, so there's just so much against, like, this. There's just so much evidence for this Valkyria Chronicles game coming outside Japan. But at the same time, this is Sega. And Sega can be stupid. And you never know. They'll probably just say, oh well, it would take a lot to localize, even though you have Atlas, right? Oh, these games aren't really that popular and there's not much demand, even though the demand for Valkyria Chronicles 3 was there and the Valkyria Chronicles fanbase proving themselves by buying Valkyria Chronicles on Steam a lot. Yeah, there's just... You gotta do it, Sega. No two ways about it. You gotta give us this game. And that's that. That's all I wanted to talk about today, so... Yeah. Have a nice Sunday. See you after. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.